Hello and welcome back to another Only a Bag gear review video. In this episode, instead of doing just an all-out gear review, I'm actually going to compare the REI Ruckpack 18 liter to the REI Ruckpack 28 liter. Now, this might seem kind of like a silly comparison, to be honest. One is bigger. But when I was looking at bags, when I was trying to find like the perfect one bag, the perfect thing that would store everything, and mainly for shorter trips. This was at the time, it was like I wanted a bag that would work for 2 to 3 weeks of trips, not necessarily a year. And I'm I don't go through a lot of clothes. I'm very conservative kind of with clothes in the sense that I don't have to bring 8 pairs of pants when I go for 8 days. So I don't need that much space. But when I was looking online at REI, I did find it difficult to figure out like how much actual space does the 18 liter have, how much space does the 28 liter have, because my partner and I have a couple different backpacks, and even like for instance the one she uses, which is a Decathlon, I think it's like a mountaineering backpack or something, a rock climbing backpack. I believe it's a 28 liter bag as well, but it does hold a lot more than the REI bag because it's just less separation in hers, and it's kind of fewer bells and whistles altogether, which means there's more space to put stuff inside the actual bag. So I was really nervous. Like the 18 liter to me seemed perfect. It was small, it was easy to use, it fit my back, and I'm like, this might be. And again, in the review video for this, I mentioned that my mom actually owned this bag, so I was able to get some actual hands-on time with the bag itself before making a decision. In the end, I decided to go one size up to the 28 liter bag, as I talked about in another video, and as seen here. And as you can see, just to go ahead and start the comparison, they are a slightly different size, but not by much. They have a very similar shape, width-wise and height-wise. This is a little bit shorter. I mentioned in the video that you can use this as a TSA bag, like a TSA-approved personal bag. It can fit under the seat in front of you. This one, by their standards, is actually a little bit too tall, and that's mainly because the internal frame runs very much, trying to get this all into the frame, from the bottom of the bag to the very top. And it's flexible a little bit, but not nearly as flexible as this one. And while this one does run from the top to the bottom as well, it's not as tall. I think it's about 2 inches shorter. Let me just put them back to back and actually see. Their tops are lined up, and the bottom you can kind of tell that there's a little bit of a distance between these two bags. This one ends here, and this one ends down here. And that's all the difference in the world to the TSA. The second major difference I wanted to talk about is the top loading bit. In the 18 liter, this is just strings and cords and everything, so I apologize, it looks a little messy. Couldn't figure out another way to film this. In the 18 liter, there's just one flap on the top. It has a little internal pocket on the inside, and then one giant pouch, essentially. On the 28 liter, there is actually a top pouch that serves as like a kind of a quick access pouch more than anything else. I talked about in the video, it's like snacks and things are a really good place to put them. And then below that is the large pouch. And unfortunately, I do think they count that in there when they say 28 liters. I think you can fit 1 or 2 liters in there technically, which does sort of, for me, it cuts down a little bit on how I pack, mainly because there is a divider, a little nylon divider here. So if it gets too much and I put this over the top, I can't actually get anything in the top pouch. So it's separated, but not so much that I can also overstuff this middle bag, because this will get taut and then it won't actually press all the way up against the top of the bag. Which is all a very complicated way of saying there's some slight separation in there if that's what you're looking for. Again, I use it for very, very basic things, snacks, sunglasses, tickets, things like that, something I just need to access quickly, but I still want it against my back so nobody else can get to them. They both have a very similar office pocket. Again, don't know what it's called. I like to call it the office pocket. On the same side of the bag, this one has a sort of a lined pocket I think that is supposed to be a sunglass pocket, actually. I never use it for that because on the side of the bag feels very dangerous. Pens, separation, and a secret pocket. Whereas on the 18 liter, there's also actually a sunglass pocket that is sort of felt lined, like microfiber lined. Pens, extra at the bottom. I'm really not change, maybe. I'm not sure what you put. And a secret pocket. The difference being this does not have a water bottle pocket on the outside of the office compartment, and this one does, which gives the REI 28 liter 2 water bottle holders in one bag versus the 18 liters just one water bottle holder on the, I guess I would say the right side, but you know, because it's the left side though, isn't it? So it doesn't matter which way. It's over here. The point is, it's one water bottle holder right over here. On the 28 liter, behind the water bottle pocket, there is a sort of side access panel. If you packed it in a way that you need to get to something on the side of the bag, you can enter right here rather than going through the top. It is helpful in some cases, but because it's zipped from the top, not from the bottom, which it sounds like it doesn't make as much sense. Like zipping, you know, it basically zipped down to the bottom. It doesn't make that much sense. But I find that like if I've packed something on the side that I need to get to, it's probably way down at the bottom. But there's not much difference between going here and then going here. I just move the stuff aside and go down. So I've never really used the side access panel. It doesn't seem that useful to me. So that's something that is, you know, in the same way to you, if you're not thinking it's useful, then I don't know necessarily if you have to go bigger on the bag. I already mentioned the inside is very similar. There is a laptop pocket or a camelback pocket. REI calls it both. This did confuse me at first, I will say, because when I bought the REI Ruckpack, it said it had a laptop compartment, which is one of the reasons I bought it for, and it arrived with the sort of camelback holder instead. And totally fine. The only difference is this has no padding or anything. It's just one thin piece of nylon that separates the laptop from the rest of your stuff, which just means you either need a laptop case or you need to kind of pack the back of your bag with something soft, like, you know, t-shirts, pants, something like that. A few times I haven't done it, but I just get nervous because sharp edges, hitting it with something, it makes me all very nervous to have my laptop right here. On the front though, farthest away from your back, there is a mesh pocket with a keychain holder, goes all the way down to the bottom. And that side access panel actually has, and you can see here, a third second mesh pocket, but a third overall pocket. I never really use them. It's just kind of a weird size. Nothing really seems to fit into them. It's like I was thinking originally, like, oh, I could put socks in there, I could put underwear in there. Doesn't really seem to work that well. It's also because it just goes all the way to the bottom. Anything heavy would just fall right down and then get trapped at the bottom until you unpack the bag. So I think for a while I was putting, like, you know, pens or something in there, which is a terrible idea because I have that office compartment. In the 18 liter, there is no front mesh pouch, but on the side with the water bottle holder, there is a little mesh pouch that does run all the way to the bottom. But again, no separation and no closure. Here instead is on the top panel is where you can put your keys inside this tiny little mesh pouch that holds basically keys and snacks, and that's about it. Structurally speaking, the front of the bags are pretty much the same. They have a daisy chain hidden behind the front panel, and they have these little loops here down at the bottom. This is the 18 liter bag. The 28 liter bag, like I said, fundamentally daisy chains and then loops. The only thing this has different is it does have a little bungee cord here if you need it. I use it to like attach jackets and shoes and stuff to the outside, but if you have a bit of string, you can attach them to this just fine, no worries. The other major difference between the two is on the REI 28 liter. If you've seen the video, there is a compartment down here for a rain cover. You can also obviously put something else down there, but it's the very bottom of the bag, so I wouldn't go with anything that's too breakable. Currently, it does not have the rain cover in it. I don't like to keep the rain cover in the bag. It takes up space. I mentioned this in the 28 liter video. It takes up space, and it kind of creates this little rock at the bottom of the bag, which I don't like, mainly because it kind of makes it uneven as well. So when I can sit the bag like this when there's stuff in there, but when there's a rain pack in there, I have trouble and it kind of falls, which is only an issue, again, because I have the laptop in here. The 18 liter does not have a rain pouch. It does not come with one. And so obviously it doesn't have a storage pouch for it, which just means that you'd have to get one if that's something that matters to you. And then if you do get one, you can't store it in the bag anywhere. Last but not least is the back. This does have some slight air channeling, as you can see here, sort of spinal air channeling, as well as a couple sort of tributary air channels and some light foam padding in between. On the 28 liter, we do have a lot more rugged. These are like foam triangle cuts. It's very much hard to see because it's black foam with a black mesh over it, but it's these sort of triangle cut things that basically kind of protrude against your back. And then here's just a very stiff, basic bit of foam. One spinal air channel as well with these tributary air channels or secondary air channels. They both have the little straps, the waist straps, and both the straps are packed behind the last panel on the back. As you can see, there are so many straps in this video. As you can see here, these just tuck in back here. This strap they're both contoured straps. This one is almost like a little bit more contoured. So they're not quite cut the same way. And this is a lot more thick, unpliable foam. Whereas this backpack, it's got one thin piece of foam, very loosey-goosey. This one is less loosey-goosey, I think is a scientific way to put that. And they both have a chest strap that comes with a whistle in case you get lost in the woods. And those are the major differences of the two bags. Again, one is 18 liters, one is 28 liters. Some of that 28 liters, I believe in their calculations, is taken up in the rain pouch at the bottom and that quick access pouch on top. My estimate would be that only about 24 liters or so, 25 maybe, can actually be put inside the body of the bag. But for someone like me, I really do like a little bit more space. If for nothing else, I just like being able to sort of have an emptier bag in case I find some clothes or in case I want to buy something, in case I want to bring gifts back for somebody. And I found that in the summer when my partner and I walk around, we often house sit in Rome. The backpack with 2 water bottle holders is actually quite useful. Although we share a water bottle, it's Rome in the middle of summer. It gets to like 95 degrees. I'm sure you've seen summers somewhere. So having an extra water bottle is very helpful, especially if you buy like fizzy water or something like that. It's nice to have a place to put it on the outside of the bag rather than using any of the inside space. But I've noticed specifically that both of these bags, with a lot of weight on them and the chest strap, they don't feel very heavy. The padding helps, especially on the 28 liter where it's a bit thicker padding, especially down at the lower back. The padding kind of really prevents the bag from digging into my back, from creating any stress points, or from creating any sort of friction points. So if you're looking in the market, this is a day pack versus an actual backpack. 10 liters is a pretty big difference. But just in case you were considering the 28 liter, I'd say that's too big for a day pack. And the 18 liter, it's great if you're taking a weekend trip somewhere, even 5 days a week. If you're a really concise packer, honestly, 2 weeks easily. Anything more than that, I would go with the 28 liter. Thank you so much for watching this comparison video, and I hope you watch the next one.